this is the application that we are talking about, and you are looking at the application from a laptop or a desktop mode. So I wanted to show you on, let's say, for example, here on top, you will be able to see it says, QS team, which is nothing but this is what the QS team will perform, or these are the various activities what they can perform. So you could see the number of quotations that they have prepared. You could see the number of projects that they have converted from quotation to orders. So you could see those numbers here, and the number of projects which are there in the planning stage, and you can also see the draft invoice and the released work orders. So this is exactly what QS team does. On top left, you can also see the BOQ import provision. Probably I'll talk more about this on when we get into the details, and you can also see the reports whatever they need when it comes to MIS analysis per se. So this is from a QS point of view, or this is what we offer for a QS team. And now I will also show you the actual projects team here. So projects team, if you can see, they may not have any details about the estimation or the tendering details, because in the previous screen you would have seen the number of quotations that they have bid, but those details are not reflecting here, right? So here you could see the list of projects that are in planning phase and which are being executed at this point in time, any approvals for purchase indents and work order indents, and the purchase orders and the work orders. Okay, and to your right hand side, you will also be able to see a dashboard or a chart, which is nothing but the costing chart, wherein I understand for a project number 29, the one which is there in blue color is the estimated costs, which is nothing but what we will incur when we execute this particular project. So it says ₹1,72,000 rupees, for example, but however, what has been budgeted is 2.86. So which means I am going beyond my budget. So what could be the reason? Is it because of inefficient work of myself, or are there more entities within this project, or is there a more number of variations have come? We do not know. But on a chart, this is what system can give you on a real-time basis. Whatever you're looking at is a real-time data. Okay, but you can see the details maybe when you get into the actual project itself. And the green one, you will also have the details of the committed cost, which is nothing but what is the actual commitment given to all our subcontractors and the vendors. And you can also see the actual cost, which is nothing but the usage, which is nothing but let's say the amount or the accounts received, accounts payable invoice that we have booked against the project, which means we have booked expenses for 61,000 rupees as of today. This is on to projects team, and on top you can also see the budget, reporting, which says project costing, project budget versus actual, the material tracker. These are the reports which are available. Okay, and you can also see site team. So here you could see there are no details about the estimations and the number of projects that we are talking about here. So everything is cleansed as per the site team's access. Here they can see the GRN, they can do the material reconciliation, and they can do the tracker. Yeah. You will also be able to see the purchase team. Pretty much the same process, but it is pertaining to a purchase department. And last but not least, you will also see the accounts department details. You can see project summary, tracker, budget versus actual. So yeah, these are the various roles that we are talking about when it comes to the application per se. So talking more about the application, so this is what we are talking about, wherein these are the various modules which are available: estimation, projects, material management, labor part, approval mechanism is what we have. These are the various application modules. So what we do is we cover one by one. Right. So before that, I just want to quickly show you the actual BOQ which we received from the customer. All right, so initially we are going to start with the estimation process. So for carrying out an estimation, we will have to upload the BOQ which we collect from the customer. So I have taken a sample BOQ because this is how we get the BOQs from the customer. I mean, I understand you have the old taxation here, but this is a sample record which I want to talk about. So you could see the list of technical work which has to be performed for civil and interior work. And yes, so you could see the full height partition work to be carried out with aluminum framework, and this is the square meter which we are supposed to execute as per the BOQ, and the technical definitions is being populated here. So similar way, we have civil and interiors BOQ. We will have the 7 floors BOQ, something like this, and the launch. So what we are talking about here is any BOQ that you are talking about, which you have received like this, you will be able to import it to the system. I will take you to the actual system itself. So here you can see list of all the projects that we have. So these are the various projects which we have estimated in the system. You could see Civil and Interior, AMR Tech Park, TCS, Genpact, Nexus, Qualcomm, Uber. So these are the projects which we have updated in the system. And I would like to show you the BOQ here. So yeah, this is the BOQ which we are talking about. So let's say we have the technical description here. So you could see fabricating of aluminum partition framework, so on and so forth, rock wool installation, providing of gypsum on both sides. You could see the entire description here. Okay. So there is no restriction on number of texts. It could be any number of length. So there's no problem. So we will be able to import the entire BOQ here. And when we import the BOQ, the quantity will also be copy paste. So now let's talk more on how we are going to do the import. So what we typically do is we will give an Excel template. In this Excel template, we will copy the entire BOQ here. So first column will be the BOQ number, description, quantity, and your unit of measure. So we will freeze these 4 columns from a BOQ per se. So which means the BOQ which we have received like this, we will have to copy paste these descriptions. Let's say I'm going to copy the entire description here, and I'm going to paste it there. So this is how I'm preparing my BOQ for import per se. And similar way, I will have to copy the quantity and unit of measure. And once the file is saved, you will have the provision for importing the BOQ, wherein I will be able to select the project and I will be able to pick the file and I can import. So here I can pick the file, and the moment I say open, what happens is the BOQ gets imported to the system. So this is how we bring the data of BOQ to the system. Okay, so let's say the BOQ is being imported. So then what happens is we have the rate card mechanism. If you can notice, for every line in the BOQ, there is something called as a rate card which is being tagged. So in the system we have this provision of defining the composition of material, manpower, and labor required for a given BOQ a line item. So here what we see is, let's say aluminum partition lamination for 1 square feet, the cost is 285. So how did we arrive at the value of 285 is the breakup of material and the manpower. So here you could see the breakup as these are the list of items and these are the labors which you're looking at. So we'll be able to define the length, breadth, height, number of quantity, the actual cost, and the overall cost for a given line item. And in case of any item materials like glass, you will also be having provision to enter the wastage. That provision is also available in the system. and based on this breakup, system has computed the value of 285. So now what happens is, similar way, we will have to define the rate card for the rest of the BOQ line items. Here you could see rock wool installation, column cladding, let's say full height partition, overhead storage unit. You can define all the set of activities here. Maybe I can show you POP, plaster of Paris activity. So here you can see it is a civil item, and a labor is needed for applying the plasters. So this is what we have defined. So here what has happened is we also have this provision for defining a rate card very specific to a project, or it can be a master, which means there are certain rate cards wherein we can use it across various projects because the set of activities are same. So in that cases, you can define them as a master, and you can very well take it forward for, you can copy those rate cards and you can use it for future projects as well. So that is where you have this provision for copy rate card analysis. So which means it copies the rate card. All right. Let's say the list of all the rate cards which are required for the BOQ has been defined. Then we have to tag this particular rate card against the entire BOQ. So you could see for every BOQ there will be a rate card attached. So you could see all the activities here. So for column cladding, all the activities rate card has been tagged. So now it is all on arriving at the costings here. So here you'll be able to see, okay, what is my cost of execution of aluminum partition is 285. So my BOQ quantity is 8340. So what system does is it multiplies this so that the actual cost will be arrived. So here you can see the breakup, and you could see the quantity which are required and what is the overall cost and price. So for arriving at the overall selling price, you have provision for entering the margins, or you have this provision for entering the overheads here. So here you can have transportation charges only on material, which will contribute to 3%, and wastage items you can go for 3% again. And for labor activity, you would like to consider ESA and PF, so that can also be added. So here you can add any number of costs if you wanted to include inside the costing or as an overhead. And then you also have this provision for defining the margins. So either I can give the project margin here, which you can see right now, or you can give line item wise margin, which means every BOQ line item wise, if you want to give the margin, yes, very well possible. That is also available in the system. So here you could see the profit margins could be defined for every BOQ line. So which means for aluminum partition, you could have 10% margin, whereas for a glasswork, you can have 5%. So if you want to change it line item wise, that is also available in the system. So what happens is, based on this margin definition, the selling price is being arrived. So if you happen to notice, for every BOQ line, we are arriving at the price. So taking a summation of the entire BOQ will provide us the overall project, overall project value, which means what is the selling price to the customer. So that is what you are looking at here. So let's say we would have estimated 2 crores 12 lakhs as a cost, but what we sell it to the customer as 3 crores 66 lakhs 47,000. So this is how we arrive at the costing and pricing. So now what happens is, definitely, we have this provision for sending it for approvals. If you wanted to send it for approval, yes, you can very well do that. And definitely, when the customer, you prepare the BOQ, and let's say the customer may not agree for it on the first go, there will be negotiations happening. In such cases, you can do multiple versions. Archive provision is there, wherein you can archive the current version and you can go for version comparison as well. probably I can take you to the quick version comparison report. So I would like to compare this with the, let's say, second version for this particular project. And probably I can see the details here on what is the differences. So let's say, for example, yeah, I can zoom in there. So I could see these are the BOQ, which is aluminum partition work. My quantity remains the same, but my cost has changed. Initially, with the current version, I've got 23,77,000 as my cost, whereas with version 2, it was 23,85,000. So which means there is a difference of 8,000 rupees. So by this way, I will be able to compare one version of BOQ with the other version of the BOQ. So that provision is there. And in case if you wanted to take the current version itself as in a report, yes, you can very well do so. Probably I can show you a sample estimation here. Yeah. So the current version is nothing but what is the actual budget versus, I mean, what is the costing and pricing for the given BOQ. So that is something I just wanted to showcase here. So I wanted to see both cost and price, and I would like to see the estimation for this particular estimation number. So I'm selecting the estimation number here for this first project, which is C&I AMR Tech Park, and yeah. So here you will have the details of, okay, so all right, so I have got this BOQ here, and this is my cost, which is 285, and my selling price is 471. So first line margin is 65.45. All right. So let's say if you want to share this with the customer, yes, you can very well do that, but you can simply remove the cost column here, which you're looking at it. And I'm just doing the same report once again. So this will have only the selling price details. It may not have the cost details. So you will have the details of the entire BOQ cost and price. Yeah. And most important thing is, let's say there are cases wherein customer may not accept in the format the way we have prepared the estimates. They will always ask for their own formats. So in that case, what we have to do is you have to copy the BOQ and you can move it to Excel. So there are multiple ways of doing it. What I did now is I selected all, copy rows, go back to Excel, paste. So this is how we can play around with the Excel. I mean, this is one of the USPs of Microsoft application, the ease of use that I was talking about. So let's say these are the various offerings for QS or the estimation module of the system. So provided you have understood this, the process of budgeting is pretty much the same. Only difference is the budgeting task will be carried out only when the contract is awarded. So that's the only difference. So how does the handing over happens from contract to the actual execution team is just one click of a button. The moment you say create job, the entire BOQ gets transferred to the projects team. So I have logged into the projects module now, or projects team. So here I could see the same C&I MR Tech Park project, and I can see the same BOQ, same rate cards. This is what I have. Pretty much the same process, no big difference. Here also you'll be able to verify or validate the rate card, whether the composition is right, whether my costing team or the estimation team has considered the right composition for the given technical description. You'll be able to see what is my cost and price, and what are the various selling prices that we have. Pretty much the same process. You will also have create version, which is nothing but the version comparison. So typically, where and all the changes would come across is whenever there is an NT, whenever there is a variations with the BOQ quantity, those things are can be handled through this version provision or the functionality that we have. The functionality is very simple, which is a save as functionality. So here you could see the number of versions, the number of times the BOQ has been archived. So that can also be different. And one more important thing which I wanted to highlight is when the actual job handing over happens, what system does is it creates the multiple locations, which is nothing but for each and every projects that we have, they will be created as locations here. So you could see list of all the project numbers are created as locations. Why is, it is because to track the inventory project wise, so that, in system, we are creating a location called project location, so that we will get to know, the number of projects and the site locations. And here also you'll have the same rate card mechanism. They will be able to see the compositions which has been defined, so you can very well go for it. So this is what the projects team will perform within the application. And then comes in the site team. So what they perform is the actual purchase indent, which is nothing but they will raise the purchase request. So here you will have list of purchase indents which are needed. So here this is how they raise the indent, and to your right hand side you will also have list of budget, what is the budgeted quantity, budgeted value. So these are the list of this is how what is there in the budget, what is exceeding the budget. So anything that is showing in red color is because we are going beyond the budget, and you can also control it based on the approval mechanism as well. And once the purchase orders are being, purchase indent is being released, then comes in the site team for, purchase team for, doing the quotation comparison. In case if you want to do the quotation comparison across, let's say, 2 or 3 suppliers, you can very well do the quotation comparison as well. I'm just doing a sample quotation comparison. So here you'll be able to see, for a list of items, from vendor A, we have received a quotation for 55 rupees, whereas with the other vendor, it is 65 rupees is the difference. So this way we can do the quotation comparison as well. And last but not least, based on the quotation comparison, we will be able to release a purchase order as well. So probably I'll show you a sample a purchase order. So this is how a purchase order is released in the system. And kindly be noted, the format which you're looking at can be fine-tuned as per your requirement. So so this is how the vendor purchase order looks like. So we can do the list of all the items, whatever quantity, whatever rates that we have defined. In case of any statutory or GST to be included here, yes, we can very well bring in. And this is a sample purchase order which we can release in the system. And against the purchase order, once again, the site team can do the GRN. So here you could see the goods receipt note. So here the GRN numbers are automated. So which means when the material receives is received at the site person is supposed to prepare the GRN. No need to bring that hot copy to the head office or the office itself. You will be able to do the GRN directly. And once a GRN is made in the system, it gets reflected to the people who are there in the project site, in the head office. So probably a sample purchase, GRN looks like this. You can see the PO quantity is 1740, whereas what we have received is 1000. So this is how the GRN is also being made. And once the GRN is provided, then the purchase bill booking happens. So probably accounts and finance maybe will handle it separately. And the similar process is what we also have for the work orders. So similar to purchase indents or material request, sorry, it is mandatory to raise work order indents as well. So wherein we raise work orders for releasing the work order indents for releasing the work orders, and similar process of quotation comparison can also be handled, and you could see the work orders which can be released from the system as well. So the work order will have the details of what is the scope of work, what is the rates considered, what is a BOQ detail which we have to populate in the system. So yeah, here you could see the work order definition. So work order details, what is aluminum partition framework, what is the rate agreed. So these things could be populated in the system. But only difference from the work order and the purchase order is that we have got measurement book or subcontractor measurement book for this particular work order functionality. So probably I can show you a sample measurement book of how the measurement bill is being prepared. So here you have running bill 1, 2, 3, 4 for certified for a given work order, and you will be able to do the work order running bill annexures as well. I can show you a sample annexure. Yeah. So here you will have the vendor details. You will have the list of what is the value with the current bill and what is the value with the previous bill and total up to date. So this is what we have for the subcontractor running bills. So what we enter as subcontractor running bills is what we certify. So typically what happens is when the subcontractor provides the measurement book, we may not certify the entire measurement. Rather, we certify only partially. So enter those value as certified subcontractor bills. So based on this certified value, accounts and finance will be able to prepare the purchase bill, which is nothing but, if the accounts receives a bill of, let's say, 9,941 value from this particular subcontractor for a given project, then accounts team will fulfill the bills here. And last but not least, the subcontract, similar to the subcontractor process, we also have the customer running bills as well. The same process wherein we have the customer running bills to be defined. Maybe I can show you the customer running bills as well. Yeah. So here we have the customer running bill, and this is how we have the customer abstract. So which means we will have the breakup measurement of what we have agreed with the customer and what is the completion that we have done with this current bill and what is the overall accumulated value. So this can also be generated to Excel, like similar to the other reports. And you also have the draft and tracks invoice mechanism. So the draft invoice will be, until the customer approves, we may not convert this draft invoice to a tax invoice format, but this is how a sample tax invoice will look like. So you'll have the breakup of, CGST, SGST, and this is how a sample tax invoice will look like. Right. And quickly, I'll run through the reports for projects. So probably after this, I'll take question and answers from your end. In the meantime, if you wanted to leave questions, yes, you can very well do so. And yeah, this is one of the MIS report for project costing. You can see what is the estimated value, what is the budgeted value, what is the usage value, and what is the completion percentage, how much physical completion that we have carried out. And similarly for budget versus actuals, material and labor wise. So here you can see for this particular project, we would have budgeted so-and-so quantity of aluminum framework of so-and-so size, and what is the actual quantity that we have consumed and what is the difference. Same way you also have for the subcontractor activity wise also. And I would like to show you a project summary wherein this will help you to have a overall project cash flow of how or a health of the project. So here you could see, these are the invoices that we have raised to the client, and these are the bills which we have received from the subcontractor as well, and these are the payments which we have received from the client, and these are the payments that we have made to the vendor. So this will give you the complete health of a given project. And if you scroll down further, you will also be able to see the list of invoices raised to the customer and how much money we have received. Yeah. And as I was saying before, this application will also have this provision for managing your other entity, which is nothing but the modular, wherein we'll be able to define the production process as well. So the application is same, but only difference is the companies is what we have. So here you'll be able to see, two companies which will have the interior and the modular fit out. So the moment I select interior, it works accordingly. If I select modular, it will go into the module. The modules will be completely different. So here I would like to showcase a sample bill of material wherein I have the reception table defined. And for this reception table, what is the bill of material which is required? So you will have the common plywood, 12 mm and 18 mm, and you have laminate, and you have wire manager, and you will also have the other equipments. So once this is defined, you will also have the assembly process, wherein you will be able to define the various assembly orders for a given reception table. So this is how the assembly orders is being prepared. So which means the finished goods will be prepared in this company, and the finished good will be delivered to the other company, which is the parent company here. So that provision is also available in the system. And as a product, what we are also working towards is a quick site app, wherein the site users will be able to update the photos. So those things are a work in progress from our end. So which is a product development. More probably in the next couple of months, you will receive that feature as well. So which will allow the site users to take a photos of the current status or the current progress of the physical completion of the project, can also be shared with the with the team, so that they will know where exactly we stand, right? So I just wanted to leave the next few minutes to the question answers. So if you would I'm more than happy to take questions